Hey, good morning, guys. Today I want to take a moment to talk to you about a thought that came to mind, not through writing a blog post this time, but while working with a client. So I've spoken of late of stuff relating to how to go about speaking your truth while still being really respectful to others. I made, I think, a couple of memes on that, and I also touched on it in some articles I wrote. But basically, there's something to be said about being able to say what you feel is meaningful and important to say. And that's what I want to make sure to touch on right now. So, whenever you have something which seems meaningful to you, and whatever the reason for that might be, it might be because you feel that what you have to say to somebody is actually important for them to hear to allow them to prevent potential mistakes. It might be because you just feel that whatever you have to say was very valuable to you as a lesson, or just a thought even that you had, which isn't necessarily a lesson which you've had the time to digest and to transform into a really powerful message, but just something which impacted you positively. Whenever something like this happens, it's really something that you shouldn't be ashamed of sharing with people. So the person I was talking with was expressing how they had something which came to their mind this week and which they found to be very valuable to them. It's something that allowed them to consider things differently and to really allow them to uh, appreciate what was going on for them in that time. And they knew that friends of theirs who were going through basically similar things would also potentially benefit from it, but they just weren't sure of if that would be valued, of if this would be welcomed, or if this could even have, potential negative repercussions on those people. And what we talked about was the idea of what is, would say, maybe, what you actually do for yourself in an egoistical way, as opposed to what you do with the intent of helping. And intention in this, I think, is central. So if you're about to talk to something about people and you're unsure of if that's a topic you can easily touch on, well, there's a couple of things you can do to help yourself move forward. One of the things is to ask yourself, well, is this egoistical? Not in the sense of, is this something which I benefit from? Because obviously you might be happy just to share your thoughts with your friends, right? It's something which might bring you joy. So it's not just that, it's asking yourself, is that potentially detrimental to those people in any way? And most of the time, when we're talking about the kind of stuff I've been mentioning, it's not something that could be detrimental in any way. And if you're actually afraid that it might be taken that way, you can always start managing expectations. So if you take the time to tell the people you're with that you have experienced something of late, that you have a thought that was really meaningful to you, and that you want to share that with them, just in case it had any value for them, that it's not you trying to impose your way of seeing things on them, but instead just that you want to give them the opportunity to be exposed to that same thing so that they might benefit from it. I doubt that anybody would ever be angry at you or, uh, you know, not appreciative of the thought itself. Might they disagree? Of course they might. Might they not find any value in that? Of course they might too, right? But that's not the point. The thing there is that you had an intent which was positive, that you made sure that people understood where it was coming from. And just doing that will give you a lot of confidence in terms of uh, the right that you have to do that. People often think in terms of, well, do I have the authority to come and teach people? Well, to teach somebody anything, all you need is to be a bit further down the road on that specific path than what they are, right? That's all that's ever required to be able to help anybody. So if you have anything that might be of value, by all means, go ahead and share that. You do not need to be in authority. You do not have to have any actual control over any people. As some people like to refer to when they think of conventional schools, where they see that the teacher actually has control over the class, right? They have authority entrusted to them by the principal and by the parents and so forth. But that's not something that's required to teach at all. The sad thing is that because of our upbringing, sometimes people kind of see it as though they need to be in such a position of authority to be able to make a difference. So please remove that thought from your mind. That's not what you need. You need to be just willing to help and a bit further down the road than what those people are in that specific area. Obviously, they might be further along the road than you are in other stuff, and that's where you get to learn from them. So it's super simple. It's not something you need to stress about. When you have something of value to share, go ahead and do it. By all means, people will probably appreciate it. At worst, they might not see value in it, but they won't think of you any less for that. Of course, if you, in addition to that, took the time to explain that you were doing this because you felt it had value to you and you hope that maybe it would have to them also, they will actually appreciate the thought, no matter what they thought of what it is that you had to share that specific time. So please don't let those kinds of considerations hold you back. And lastly, it's something I also mentioned in a previous video, but I think it's worth mentioning again. When you're about to do something, if you're stressed about what you're about to do and it might hold you back from actually going through with that, a good trick is to remember that to your brain, excitement and stress are very, very closely related. So whenever something comes along and you feel like this is just too stressful, you might pull back from the action, try to reframe that for yourself as being not that you're scared of doing it, but that you're excited about it. This way you're actually able to carry through while feeling pretty much the same emotion. It's just that you understand it differently, and that excitement then can turn into positive energy. So you can start talking to people with this level of emotion, which they will actually find a lot more powerful and is a lot more likely to get them to appreciate what you're sharing, to relate to it, and perhaps to put it into practice. So use that emotion of initial stress, that energy that comes with it, use it as a tool to empower your message. That's it for today. I'm Alex C. I hope you have a wonderful day.